Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be sharing all of my 2021 planners, how I'm using them, how they're set up, how they all work together. You may have seen my video on my cousin already. I did film a video which I will link, just showing the full setup of that. That's my main go-to planner, so I figured that was worth a video of its own, but everything else I decided I'd just kind of put in one video together rather than dedicating whole videos. Also, it helps me to kind of explain how they all work together a bit better rather than lots of separate videos. There are a couple of blog posts if you'd like to read those, on the A6 setups and the weeks, and also the cousin in case you wanted to read about that, but everything else will pretty much be covered here for 2021. This is a lot of planners. This is probably the most amount of planners I've tried to use in a year. The biggest thing for me is there's not a huge amount of duplication, because that's the big thing for me. I can't be doing with writing the same thing in 2 or 3 planners. I can't keep up with it. For me, everything has very separate uses, and that's what I'm hoping will work for me, because I do quite like keeping things separate. I'd love to be one of those people that could just put my whole life in one book, but I don't like flicking between lots of different pages on a day-to-day basis. I like to have my weekly plan out on my desk open so I can always refer to it. If there's other pages that I need to kind of flick back and forth, it doesn't work for me. I know lots of people who it does work for, but I need things separate. So yeah, I'll stop blithering on and get cracking with all of these planners. So let's move these out of the way and start with my filofax Malden. There is a blog post about the setup of this, just from last year when I originally purchased it. I'd have been after a Malden for a really long time, and I saw one on offer. I think Amazon had it on offer, and then John Lewis were price matching, so I purchased it from John Lewis. I got it in the ochre colour. I was looking at the stone, but this for me is kind of the OG Malden colour for me, so yeah, pick this up. This isn't something that I use necessarily for kind of planning, so no like daily or weekly planning goes in here. It's basically anything that would last longer than a year, if that makes sense. So I keep things like shop stats, finance tracking, savings trackers, things like that, that to kind of put in my cousin would mean that I'd be rewriting them year after year. Makes no sense. So yeah, I keep them all together in here. So a lot of it is reference, and then just a few kind of, like I say, things that I'll need to keep, and having it in a ringed planner is perfect for that. Yeah, there's not really much more to say. There's not a huge amount that I can kind of flick through and show, because this has obviously got things like financial details, but just a few bits. So the vellum I basically made myself with some vinyl dots. I got the idea from a YouTuber. I will link her video if I can remember where it is. But yeah, really simple, just kind of vinyl offcuts or any kind of unused space on any vinyl that I've been sticking out. Created some dots and stuck them on vellum as just a bit of a fly leaf. Then have my planning routine in here. This is something it was an idea from Lindsay Scribbles actually, and something that I'm trying for 2021 because I've got so many planners, but just kind of how and when I'm going to be using the different planners. I just kind of have this out open every morning when I'm just kind of doing my start of the day. Really helpful, will be really handy, particularly when it comes to kind of monthly and making sure that I'm kind of starting my month in the right way and that everything's up to date. I have a bit of an inbox where I just kind of stick random sticky notes that I will need to refer to at some time. Spare pages. These are just kind of really simple pages that I whipped up in Silhouette, just to fill a gap really, rather than purchasing printable. The dividers are really cool. These are frosted clear dividers. They are quite thin. They're thinner than I was expecting, but they're really nice and they do the job. And actually with the small rings of the Malden, you don't want a thick divider bulking everything up. I will link the shop where they came from. Really good UK seller. And that's kind of it in terms of the Malden. I don't do lots to kind of pretty it up. I've never have done with my ring planners. I'm not one of these people that can have loads of paper clips and stuff. I like to keep things pretty simple, and I think the Malden works really well for that. So yeah, anything kind of reference or anything that will be carried over year on year, stats, finance, addresses, things like that, lives in my Malden. This lives on my desk. Yeah, lovely planner. Next up, we have got the A6s, which I will do together. So these are my Hobonichi A6s. This is the day 3 and this is a weekly supplement. I'll cover the weekly supplement first because it's really easy. I haven't really used this much yet, purely because this is my EDC, so my everyday carry. It will just live in my Hobonichi Anne pouch, which is my purse. So nice and thin, doesn't take up a lot of room, but I just like to have something on me for things like holidays, appointments, anything like that, so that when I'm out and about, as you can see I don't have a lot of appointments because lockdown, but it just means that I've got something on me that has anything that I might need to know when I'm out and about, so I don't end up double booking myself, or if there's anything important for work that means that I can't, you know, book an optician's appointment or a hair appointment, it will be in here. As I say, because I'm still working from home and I'm literally going out to the supermarket right now, this hasn't gone anywhere, but it's ready to go as and when. Ollie clip to keep it closed. I love these, as you'll probably see. Awesome holographic sticker that I found from Etsy, which I'll link below, and then just some simple tabs on the top. These are teeny tiny tabs that I designed specifically for the A6. Really struggling to focus, brilliant. But yeah, that's that. I then have the day 3, again, holly clip to keep it closed. This is a clear Midori cover. I like something simple just to keep it clean, but then also the pen loop. The pen loop's really important for me just because it will live on my desk with the pen and I can just quickly grab it when I need to. Another holographic sticker on the front, and this is basically my shop planner, but it's more for kind of notes, and I'm not going to show kind of any of the detail pages, but the day 3 has lots of blank note pages. Basically they're not dated, so I do lots of random planning in here. So it might be product ideas, sticker brainstorm, supplier research, things like that goes in here. I wanted the day 3 rather than a normal notebook though, because I wanted this page to use for habit tracking for the shop and the blog. So every time I've, you know, posted on Instagram, done a YouTube video, drawn, everything like that, and then I'm also using it to plan out kind of projects and when I'm going to be working on things. So that's that. And then I also wanted the monthly pages so that I can plan out my kind of shop and blog life in advance and kind of set out when I'm going to do things, when I'm going to advertise, when I'm going to design certain products, when I'm going to release certain products. So yeah, I just really wanted to have a monthly plan so that I could kind of set out, plan my month, and then when it comes time to planning in my cousin, I then convert it over. But it just gives me a space to do some really intentional planning for the shop and the blog and when I'm going to do things, rather than kind of just, I mean, I always planned it, but it just feels a little bit more intentional now. Hopefully that will work. But yeah, that's it. Really simple. These are really strong, as you can tell, but yeah, this is my, I think, 3rd attempt at trying an A6 size. So far so good. I like this because on my desk storage I have kind of like letter holders, and this fits in really nicely, so it can just live on my desk and I can just grab it whenever I've got a blog post idea or I'm doing some quick sticker research, things like that. So yeah, really enjoying that. Next up we have the weeks. There is a blog post about this which I'll link just so you can see it in a bit more detail, but this is basically health, fitness and a bit of finance. This is the best way I found to use the weeks. I've tried a few times to plan in this kind of properly, so have it as my main planner. It's just not big enough, and to be honest the horizontal layout doesn't really work for me. I can't get my brain to plan horizontally, and also one half of the week is blank, which means that my handwriting is terrible on that side. You can see the lines beneath, which is really good, but if you're using stickers then that goes. So yeah, for me this will be kind of always this kind of planner. I can't envisage planning fully in this again. So really simple, keep some sticky notes, keep some tabs. I keep a little pocket with some of my fitness icons from the shop, just so, because these are always the ones that I use on my weekly layout, so I like to have them close. The yearly overview page is for tracking my exercise, so really great start to the year. and then I was ill, which is this week here, and did absolutely nothing. But I just wanted something. I do track my exercise properly, but I just really wanted something visual to look at, because I think that's really great in terms of kind of cheering you on, like looking back at that and seeing how much exercise I did. I'm like, yeah, awesome, and it will keep me going. So yeah, really like that. This is my weight tracking page. So I don't weigh myself daily. I used to when I was kind of deep in weight loss, and now I'm kind of just losing a little bit extra, and then it'll be more about maintenance. And I know that weighing yourself daily isn't always the greatest thing. So yeah, weigh myself a couple of times a week as and when I feel like it. Then I'm using the top bits, so it might be really hard to see. So this is kind of the weight range that I think I'll probably fluctuate between. What I'm going to do at the end of every month is mark off where my kind of lowest point was. So if my lowest point of the month was 61 kgs, I'll do a little line there, and I'll continue to do that every month, and it'll be hopefully a really nice kind of way to see how my weight's gone throughout the year. Have I kind of kept it nice and steady, or have I been quite erratic? And I think it'll be really interesting to look back at the end of the year to see how I did really, and what happened. The monthly pages I'm using for meal planning this time, so this is slightly different. So down the left hand side are kind of my essentials, I guess, of what I would always buy, and just kind of a few reminders of things. There are kind of a few more bits and pieces that I'll keep adding, but this is kind of broadly how I originally set it up. And then when I do my shopping list, I then plan out the meals that I want, and then just add the ingredients to the list. So I'm not very adventurous, please don't judge the meals that I keep having on repeat. But yeah, that's kind of it. I really like this actually, it's working quite well. Before I was using weekly pages in another weeks to do my meal planning, and I felt like it was just a bit over the top in terms of how much space it was using. This doesn't take up a lot of room, but still does what I need to do. I plan my breakfast, lunch, dinner. I have a list of reminders of things that I always buy. In the back, I've experimented with looking at, might not be able to find it. There we go. This is why I need to use the sticky tabs. So these are just kind of some ideas. They're not recipes, but they're just easy go-tos in terms of this is what I might have and what I need to buy to make it. So chicken and roasted veg, these are all the things. But then what I've also done is written out the amount, so that, because when you live alone, I find that it's really easy to buy lots of food and then bin loads of food because it goes off before you can eat it all. So I'm trying to be really intentional to make sure that my meal planning allows me to eat everything that I've bought, particularly when it comes to fresh food. So if I'm planning to have something with bacon in, I'll then look to see what other meals I can make with bacon in and then write those down. It's just something I'm trying, just to try and cut down on waste. But yeah, that's meal planning. This is my weekly setup. I might change this up, I'm not too sure. It just feels like there's a lot of white space and I don't feel like I'm using the pages fully. But basically the left hand side is exercise using the icons from the shop. Then the right hand side is basically all about my food, so what I actually ate. Please don't compare it to the meal planning page because I do not follow it. And then just my food intake and the macro tracking, and then I use this column for just kind of a bit of commentary if I'm feeling unwell or if I've taken any drugs. So I had a Limsit that week because I was ill. Yeah, quite like it. I mean, it does the job. I feel like I could probably get more out of these pages, but then I don't want to over engineer them in a way that means I won't keep up with them. But yeah, next we've got my budget planning pages. So this is a sticker set from the shop. I just really like to kind of have a bit of direction in terms of how I set these out. I mean, I always set them out the same way, but it's just nice to be able to lay down the stickers and it's all pretty much done for me. So my income, basically my direct debits, then I set myself a budget, and then I track everything I spend. As you can see, in lockdown, I'm literally only spending money on food. But yeah, in a normal time, there probably would be more, but yeah, I just track everything that I'm spending, and then I obviously count it up at the end and then hope that I've got a decent amount left. Generally, I'm pretty good at sticking to my budget. I I'm not kind of too regimented about it. For me, it's more of a guide. I don't have any debt. This is all about savings for me and ensuring that I can maximise my savings. So yeah, there's probably a little less pressure for me, but yeah, it works for me, and I've been able to save quite well over the past couple of years using this system. There is a blog post that I did probably a couple of years ago now in terms of how I do my budget planning. I'll find it and link it below just in case you're a bit more interested in how I do my budget planning. But yeah, that's it in a nutshell. And then I have order tracker sheets again from the shop, but whenever I purchase anything, I just write what it is, tick off when it's been posted, and then mark off when it's been received. Or sometimes I'll write the date that it was posted just so I know. Because this, for instance, it was posted quite a while ago, but I can't remember when, and I don't know kind of how long to leave it before kind of messaging to say, oh, it's not arrived yet. But it's an international order, and the post at the moment is horrific, so I would imagine I'll be waiting a little while yet. But yeah, that is the weeks. Next up is Astrology, and I realise I've been rambling on for quite a long time, so I will make this one brief. This is just a basic astrology. It's not something I've ever even written a blog post about, just because it's not a particularly glamorous setup, and it's just really, really functional. It's basically everything to do with YouTube, the blog, social media, and it's just so I have a page for ideas for the YouTube channel, and then a page for blog post ideas, then a page for social media ideas in terms of like Instagram posts, and then I plan out the month. Really simple setup, but I plan it out, write my ideas of which of the blog posts and YouTube videos I want to film and get live that month, and then as and when they actually go live, I'll write them in. Really simple, really functional. I kind of bought this on a whim because everyone seemed to be raving about basic astrology, so I wanted to see what the fuss was about. Really nice planner, but I'm not a big bullet journaler, so yeah, this kind of suits me in terms of what I use it for. It's really great to have it to have a separate planner, so I kind of have this out open, and when I'm planning out my week, I've already planned out my social media, so I can just write in what post needs to happen each day in my cousin. Example of liking to have something separate to make it easy when planning my week, because if I had a page dedicated to this in my cousin, I'd be trying to plan out my week and then flicking back and forth. It would just drive me mad. Right, onto the noughties. So the naughty planners, if you saw my video, were a bit of an accidental purchase. I saw lots of people talking about them and got quite interested, and saw they were really reasonably priced, so thought, yeah, I'm just going to buy a couple and try them out, and they've quickly been added into my planner lineup for 2021, which they weren't intended to be there. But this one is the A5 size. This, I won't be able to show too much of it because I use it for work, but if you saw my Nulty video, which I will link, then you get to see all the pages anyway in terms of how they're laid out. But yeah, this is for work. The monthly view, literally I just write in a couple of, because I have an Outlook calendar that all of my appointments and things are in, I don't feel the need to write it or repeat it in a planner. This is more for actual kind of to-do lists and planning. So the monthly pages will just be used for kind of big deadlines that I know that's coming up, that I know that I need to get work done for. That's it really. And then the weekly pages are basically used, the bottom half is like bullet journaling style, so I did write a blog post in terms of how I bullet journal for work, which I will link, and yeah, it's just basically repeating that and that kind of ordered way of doing it, but I wanted to have kind of a bit more direction along the top, just so that if there's any date specific stuff, I had somewhere to write it, because I just kind of did like a running to-do list in my work bullet journal. There were things that might have needed to be done on certain days that might have gotten lost, so I really just wanted something so that I could write it in that day to remind me, or if there was a certain meeting that I knew was happening that day and knew that I needed to talk to a supplier about a particular something, I could put it in there. I then just used, so there's quite a lot of notes pages in this one, in the A5 version, which is awesome. So these are used, again, I can't show you them sadly, but they're for supplier meetings, hence the tab. So each supplier will get a different tab, and I'll just keep any notes, any pertinent notes from the meetings on those pages so that I can refer back to them, and always have kind of a set place so that I always go back to the same place for every meeting. and it stops me forgetting anything, or stops anybody from having any actions and then forgetting about it and not doing them. But yeah, that is the A5 Novelty. These are the two, they're listies, so listy 1 and listy 2. These were, again, like the other, purchased without kind of a use in mind. This one has pretty much become my kind of messy pre-planner, which I actually really love. The layout itself doesn't really work for me, but I really like having this. This lives near my A6 day free, just on my desk, just tucked away. And whenever I think of something to do kind of next week or the week after, or just want to jot a quick note, I reach for this planner. So yeah, I actually really like it, and the fact that it has the pen loop there keeps everything together. Just really handy for kind of just jotting stuff down, or pre-planning, or yeah, messy planning some people call it. But yeah, so this is the monthly view. What I've done here is I've kind of taken the idea of task cards and kind of made it permanent, if that makes sense. So I've plotted out all the tasks that need to be done, or all the things that happen on a certain day or date, in here. So I get paid from Etsy every Monday, so that's gone in here. On the first of the month, I always do these things. And so it means that when I'm planning out my month in my cousin, I can just have this open and refer to this so I don't forget anything, or to write anything in my monthly plan or my weekly plan. And then down here, I've written the days of the week and the tasks that I know I do or I want to do on a certain day of the week. So the bins always get emptied on a Wednesday, so Wednesday should be bin day for me. On a Friday, because I always get paid on a Friday, that's when I do my budget check-in every week. Just things like that. And again, I have this open when I'm planning my week in my cousin, and it means I don't forget any of my regular tasks. So yeah, keeps me nice and on track. And then the weekly pages aren't really kind of used, some weeks more than others, but generally just kind of jotting a few notes that when I'm planning my week, so I'll jot down notes for the following week this week, so that when I'm planning that week, I'll have it open with my cousin, and then I'll just move all of the tasks. So as you can see, I've ticked it off as I've moved it into my cousin, and that's when it kind of becomes part of a actual kind of official to do, if that makes sense. And then so like next week, I've written a note to myself that I need to do my tax disc on MOT day, and that's my MOT day. So when I plan next week, I'll write that in. Hopefully that makes sense. There's a few notes pages in here, but not loads, so I literally just use them for random note taking or kind of brainstorming, things like that. Really handy. It's probably a bit extra in terms of having it. I don't need it, but now I've got it, I do really like the idea of just always having kind of a scratch pad that is a planner, just to kind of make notes of, make notes on as and when. So yeah. This is the other listy. So this is kind of used as an alternative to the cousin. I haven't kind of fully moved into this, so there's a few bits there that I've kind of jotted in. Same with the monthly. The main bit I love about this planner is the weekly pages, because they are basically like the cousin but smaller, and they have areas top and bottom for to-do lists. So I feel like I can kind of time block my week, or my days rather, and then still have lots of space for to-dos. So yeah, I kind of jumped between this and the cousin. So as you can see, didn't plan in it, but came back into it this week. And yeah, I really like it. Sorry, I keep saying yeah. And also, Hobonichi Weeks kits fit in this. So this is a Hobonichi Weeks kit from the shop. I really like how it looks. The same here. And yeah, so this is more kind of when I don't feel like kind of doing full planning with the cousin, or like this week was Christmas week, so I knew that I didn't have a huge amount going on in terms of planning. I just planned in here, so I felt like I'd still planned my week, but I wasn't looking at a big white space. I also took this planner home with me because I didn't want to take my cousin, because I was trying to pack light. So yeah, those are my two listies. Really love this. It's the kind of planner that I could see myself ditching the cousin for, but I know I never will, because the cousin for me is more than just a weekly view. It's the daily pages as well, and all the other pages that come with it, and just how it really works my planning. But I do love it. So I think the middle ground is just to plan some weeks in this and some weeks in the cousin, which probably isn't sustainable, but I like it. The cousin I'm not going to spend really any time on because this video is already really long and there's a full video on it on my channel. But this is my main planner. I pretty much use it for everything. I don't know what I'd do without it. It's kind of got my life in, and yeah, a planner piece. I think this is my 4th cousin now, my 4th year in it, and yeah, the novelty that I just showed is probably the first planner that's ever made me think, oh, maybe I won't be in the cousin permanently. But yeah, I can't see myself switching it anytime soon. It's just a lovely planner, really well made. It reignited my love for fountain pens, and now I have quite a collection. But yeah, that's my cousin. I feel like I wanted to talk about it but didn't want to repeat myself, so ended up just looking at it and going, yeah, so apologies. But that is my planner lineup for 2021. I hope I didn't bore you to death. I hope that was interesting. Hopefully I kind of explained as I went along how these all kind of work for me and there's not a huge amount of duplication. If you do have any questions though, please just drop me a comment. Love answering comments, particularly if it gives me an opportunity to talk about planning. Yeah, if you did enjoy this video, please give it a like, please subscribe if you haven't already. There will definitely be more planner videos coming soon, including a big comparison between the Nulty and the cousin, and the Nulty and the weeks, for anybody interested in kind of a pros and cons to those two planner styles. But yeah, thank you very much for watching. Bye!